Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And welcome to episode 19. Ha! I remembered the episode number this time.
Good job.
See, I can do this.
Alright.
You don't believe me, do you?
No, that's because I know you're looking at a sheet that has it on there.
I'm not, actually. I'm looking at your face.
Okay. Alright, this is an accomplishment.
I happen to know that next episode is our 20th.
And you know what that means?
20 comes after 19.
And 20 means that we're going to be doing a live show next week.
Heck yeah, we are. So, we'll probably specify again, in links somewhere or over Twitter or something exactly what time it'll happen. It'll most likely be Thursday night, though.
More than likely.
Because we always record on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, at least we regularly hope to record on Thursday nights. Sometimes that just doesn't happen, but no.
On average, it's a Thursday night.
So we'll give you links at that point. I mean, I can give you the link right now. It's going to be twitch.tv/MarsGirl.
And then we'll probably cut another promo for that fairly soon so people can get ready for that.
Very true. So, what's going on?
Well, in case some people haven't been there to see, I got my copy of Bat Ride War.
That's right.
And it's friggin' awesome.
Still need to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up some of the best scenes from that.
Yeah.
Some of your best commentary and explanations of who these different characters are and what the objective is within the different missions and such.
Yes.
Maybe cut out a whole bunch of the repeats that
it's happened, I admit.
And then some of the good banter, and then we'll slap that up onto your YouTube channel so that people who did not get to see that live, I know there were only a handful of people, but if you didn't get to see that live, we'll go ahead and slap together the best of segments from these streams, and we'll maybe break it into different parts too, so that because we're gonna still keep playing it.
Yes, we haven't unlocked every writer yet. We've only unlocked maybe a handful, not even... I don't think we're even halfway through
most likely
14
not.
of them. But, yes, most definitely we're going to be playing through more of that.
So, yeah, be looking to Josh's channel, youtube.com/JoshKnight1st.
Yes.
For updates on that. And remind me again, I still gotta help you actually get Adobe Premiere set up properly on your own laptop, because you totally have videos that are ready to be worked on.
I've got videos that are ready, I've got videos that need to be shot, but it's just Adobe's being a pain.
That's fine, that's fine. We'll make sure you have work and that people see your work, because this guy can talk. I'm telling you.
Some of you
guys.
have heard me talk.
Some of you, but some of you are also watching this because it's on my channel. Now cut that out. I'm not saying stop this episode just yet. Just when you're done listening to this, go over there and at least look at his old stuff that he's already done, like last year.
Well, I start working on new stuff for this year.
Okay.
Alright, but for now we're going to talk about tonight's topics.
Alright, so for one thing, I'm going to be discussing Weird Al has potentially only got one more album left in him, and we'll talk about how likely that actually is and what his next plans are.
I'm going to be talking about, in specific, a scene in Man of Steel, which is going to start having midnight shows tonight. Not that we've seen it yet, but it's going to be referencing a certain scene that you can see will come up in the trailers, but people thought might have gotten taken out due to recent national events.
And finally, E3 is at its tail end right now as we're speaking. And we just want to talk about some of the handful of things that...
There was a ton of things going on.
Oh, so we're definitely not covering everything, but we want to sit and have a banter back and forth about what's good and what isn't that we heard come up this week.
So we'll definitely get into that later on in the show.
Alright, so, do we have any follow-up since last week by any chance?
Not incredibly.
All I know is that, we talked about the Xbox One before. Did we talk about that last week or a couple weeks ago? I don't rightly remember. All I know is that that's going to be covered in the E3 segment.
Right. And so any sort of coverage we have on that will, yes, be deferred to the last segment.
In any case, I guess, you know what, just never mind. I'm just going to hop into the beginning portion of our topics tonight. So as I was saying earlier, Weird Al has recently been interviewed. And in his interview, he mentioned, I have one more album on my contract, and I'm looking forward to doing more digital distribution. Now, that got interpreted as, oh no, Weird Al's only gonna do one more album. Well, Weird Al has since clarified that that's not necessarily the case.
And where exactly did he clarify this at?
He clarified this on his very own blog, alyankovic.wordpress.com. You can see he's not, very pro with blogs because he's just using WordPress. But
you use WordPress?
I actually don't anymore.
Oh, you don't?
I mean, I use a WordPress bone structure, but I do not use WordPress.com anymore. No, I have MarsGirlProductions.com. It's my website. Al has his own website. I don't know why he doesn't have his blog integrated directly into his website, but that's a completely different story. In any case, so in his very plain gray and white blog, he says, it's not necessarily true that this is like his last album. What it means is that he's got options now to do whatever he pleases. And yeah, that could mean more digital distribution. He's not gonna stop making music. However, in this interview that I guess he did, this is the only website that I'm seeing this crop up on, but it's real, because Weird Al confirms it himself. In this interview on articles.mccall.com, he states that he wants to do digital distribution because it's difficult to compete now with the internet.
Yes.
Because it's as soon as something happens, 80 bajillion people have done parodies already.
Let's take a second to give the man the credit that he is due, and I don't think he's been getting enough credit for it. Weird Al was the internet before there was the internet.
Well, he started
as far as humor goes.
He started a genre.
Yes,
he created
he started parody,
and it was you did not become real in the entertainment industry until Weird Al made a parody out of you.
This is fact.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people have already said, "Oh man, he parodied me. That means I made it. I'm in there. I'm in this industry."
And we're talking about Madonna. We're talking about Dave Grohl of of Nirvana, but now the Foo Fighters. Saying he felt like he made it after Weird Al made Smells Like Nirvana off of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
And just to clarify that this is in fact nerd related. I mean, come on, Weird Al Yankovic has nerd cred. He's done how many songs about Star Wars? I can think right off the top of my head of Yoda parodying Lola.
Right,
and
The Saga Begins.
And The Saga Begins parodying, what is the name of song? American Pie
by Don Henley.
On top of that, just the song White and Nerdy.
Well, yeah. That was a dang anthem.
Just about, yeah, I had memorized that whole friggin' thing, And in fact, I remember putting it on a CD that I hand burned and labeling that CD Nerdy Mix 2006.
If that tells you anything.
You can see how dated that is. Actually him deciding to go digital medium, that just makes sense for a nerd environment as well.
Yes.
Because, obviously, you have to go digital to make it in the entertainment industry anymore. You really do. Any industry members who think that they can't, that they're doing fine simply by living off of TV advertising revenue and only selling discs hard copy, they're fooling themselves.
Well, it's the same thing to a certain extent with, I'd argue with Conan O'Brien. Once he left, the whole debacle with the Tonight Show, he embraced fully what the internet had to offer, and since then he's thrived over on TBS.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, they made it easier to watch his shows, watch clips of his shows and everything on the internet. And in fact, they provide more content on the internet that you can't get simply by watching the show alone. And, it makes money because there's also advertising attached to the internet medium. And actually, as I sit here and I talk about that, I'm reminded of a recent set of arguments both for and against watching internet personalities such as those over on thatguywiththeglasses.com about people who use ad blockers to avoid having to watch all the commercials either before or the middle ad rolls or the tail end of our reviews and everything. I don't necessarily care what side of the argument you are on for that, but most people, I would say, the general public is not necessarily so tech savvy that they know how to get around watching advertisements for 15 or 30 seconds or however long before you hear your song or watch your TV show on the internet. So, yeah, it's kind of irritating, but if more traditional medium entertainment embraced the internet like that, I think they would find more money. And I think it would be smart for Al himself to, in fact, go digital, and he can be more quick. He can keep up with everyone who's come after him, which, come on, wouldn't it be sad if he's still perfectly alive and capable, and he's not super old yet.
Here's the thing about it, though.
He's a smart person still.
Oh, no, very much so. I'm not arguing that. What I've actually brought this up before any of this news broke, was this idea that, to a certain extent, the current state of things on the internet as far as humor goes, be it Funny or Die, YouTube, what have you, has made it that hard for Al to do anything, because, like he says, even he's come to realize he can't get it out fast enough. And the sort of stuff he would do, other people are doing. Any number of parody songs happen with, what is that, Call Me Maybe. How quickly were parody songs up by the end of that week?
And how many were there over the course of time up until this point? To the point that even Sesame Street had to go and parody it with Cookie Monster.
Exactly. So, and the thing about it that I heard a lot of people, because I was looking through this story there on the website where they posted it, and looking at some of the comments and then cross-referencing with Twitter, everybody still likens him to the same old, well, if he's going to do a last album, it's all got to be about food. He hasn't made a food song in a while. And admittedly, well, actually, no, you're right. He hasn't made a food song in a while. Because, that was kind of the thing he did for a bit.
Fat and eat it.
Yeah. And that, of course, too, was the thing, a good chunk of the songs he made were based off of songs Michael Jackson did. Well, he can't exactly do that anymore. At least not any new songs, 'cause...
Well, here's also another thing. He's also toned down the number of parodies. Now, that's probably because of how quick the internet gets to it. But it's also sharpened him up to write more of his own really funny, witty music that does not rely on somebody else. So it gives him a chance to shine in his own right, aside from being the mastermind of parodies.
Right.
I think him only having this one last album is a great opportunity for him. And it doesn't even mean that he's done making albums. He could sign another contract. We don't know.
Of course.
We don't know. He didn't say he wasn't going to sign another contract. I think a number of people jumped to the conclusion that he was only making one more album very, very quickly. On top of that, the headline for the news article says that his next album will be his last, even though that's not technically what he said.
Will last on that current contract.
Exactly. They just wanted a sensational headline. So you can't exactly blame people for thinking that they heard that the last album on the contract is in fact his last album. I don't blame people for thinking that, but no, guys, it's cool. He's got this.
He's got this?
He's got this. Don't bury the man before he's dead. Alright?
No,
he's not done. He's still got a lot of wit in him.
Yes. Now, the thing, too, that you're saying that, this is a great opportunity for him. I remember back in the day when on, was it CBS? The Weird Al show?
Yeah, he had a show.
What happened to that?
I don't know.
I mean, I argue that things like the Weird Al Show and even, going further back, UHF were ahead of their time. Because you look at the sort of humor that was in that, how
just
different
random?
Is that? How different is... It was random, but it was a smart random, if I could phrase it as such. How is that any different from kind of the tone of what's going on over on Adult Swim or Funny or Die right now?
That's a very good point, because UHF, for example, there was an overarching story, but at the same time it was an excuse to just throw in together all these different really little silly ideas.
But there was a common thread there of there's this guy trying to save this small little dinky TV station. But then you had to fill it with content, and then you get all the little things like, I can never remember his name, Stanley...
Whatever, his first name is Stanley.
Michael Richards. You get to drink from the fire hose!
You get to drink from the fire hose!
And you so stupid!
Wheel of Fish.
I love Wheel of Fish.
Wheel of Fish is amazing. If you haven't seen UHF and you didn't realize that Weird Al had a movie, what are you doing with your life? Go out and see UHF. I think it might even be on Netflix.
I want to say it's correctly. On Netflix. If not, just do yourself a favor, go rent it. There's any Amazon Prime, friggin' YouTube. Go find it, go watch it, do yourself a favor.
The parodies still hold up today, if you ask me.
Yes.
And it's old. It's like 86, I think.
I believe.
But it still holds up. Still plenty holds up. Maybe he'll go back and do some of these comical shorts. I think that would be awesome.
I think that would be great.
He could do them regularly. I'm sure he would have to make his own schedule.
Now, here's something now
but he doesn't have to force himself onto a schedule. He can just throw them out whenever, just little bits here and there.
Now, a lot of the times when on the show we talk about fans and fan reaction, isn't there a convention dedicated to him?
Yeah, Weird Al Con, I think, and it only happens every couple of years, and it actually legitimately happens in Albuquerque,
New Mexico.
Well, specifically the Holiday Inn.
The Albuquerque Holiday Inn, as made famous in his song Albuquerque.
Yeah, where the character goes to an Albuquerque Holiday Inn, pretty much the only place this guy has ever wanted to be. Albuquerque, New Mexico. For some reason, don't ask why, go listen to the story, and you'll understand, or not understand. It doesn't really matter, it's just funny. There's been a convention, a Weird Al convention.
Okay, so, follow me on this. If enough people love the man's music, love the man's ideas enough to devote a convention to him, and he's just about to finish up this contract, what's to say he can't fan start another contract?
Fan start another contract? In what way?
Like kickstart another... What,
kickstart another album is what you're saying? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. He might be too big for a Kickstarter album. I don't necessarily think that he has to restrict himself. I think because he delves into parody, he's got plenty of room to do what he wants.
Well, because here's my argument on that. Age we live in, anybody can put out these parodies just as quick as you hear the song, right?
Right.
Attached to a label, if he gets off this this current contract, who's going to want to sign him when the market is saturated?
Uh-huh.
So if he were to want to make another hard album, a CD, he would need to be able to do that without having to worry about having to pitch himself to people.
I don't think he has to worry about
studios.
That. I really don't
Now, I'm only saying that if he were to go that route.
I don't know. I don't see a need for him to do that because he is big enough that who would be crazy enough not to want him, despite the fact that, yes, the market is oversaturated, and yet, come on, this is the guy who birthed the genre.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to worry about that. And on top of that, I don't even necessarily know that he wants to do another album deal. Perhaps it is time for him to just go internet and then have digital downloads of his songs. Who knows? I don't know that he needs it.
Well, I guess. Bottom line is, if there is another album coming, I'm willing to listen.
I would too.
I've been an avid supporter of his music for years.
And whatever he does digitally, yeah, I'm gonna be there the second it hits the internet. Absolutely.
All right. So that's that for Weird Al, or hopefully not all that, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so moving on to the second story. As we're recording this, we're actually getting ready to, later on tonight, go watch this newest adaptation of Superman, Man of Steel by Zack Snyder.
Uh-huh.
And, so just so you guys aren't worried, then this isn't going to be spoilerific right now. But what we did want to talk about, just for a second, was this story that came up just almost a week ago, over on Yahoo, which was basically covering, if you've seen any of the trailers, you'll notice that what appears to be a tornado strikes Smallville in the movie, and that's not a spoiler. You can easily see that in any of the TV commercials or trailers.
Uh-huh.
And WB decided to leave this scene in the movie. Now, some of you might not make the connection quick enough, well, why would they want to cut it out? Well, you have to make the connection there that just recently in our nation, we've had a lot of tornadoes strike in both Texas and Oklahoma.
It has been tornado season after all.
Yeah, it is tornado season. So, people want to say out of respect, why didn't you talk about leaving this movie, taking the scene out of the movie? And the excuse, or reason I should say, the reason that was given was that it is very integral to the plot, and it's really too late to do anything about it.
Very, very short notice, all things considered. It was already ready to go. That movie was done.
And so, they're keeping it. And that's not to say that the people in the movie are insensitive to these things that have happened, the tragedy over there. And of course, if you guys get a chance, give to your local Red Cross and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And, even the director and the actors have said, our hearts go out to the victims, and, anything we can do to help, we'd love to.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to get to here is a bigger thing, which is this idea that whenever something happens in, I guess you'd say, real life, we immediately have to edit our art.
I've always been bothered by that, actually.
And it goes as far back as, of course, we'll talk about it for a second, 9/11. The attacks on the World Trade Center. Because, as some of you might recall, when the first SpiderMan movie was coming out, that first trailer, Spider-Man webs a helicopter in between the two towers.
Well, it was obviously like, well, those aren't there anymore, and that was kind of a painful experience. Maybe we better get rid of that.
Yeah, so any mention to that was taken out of the movie. And then, almost immediately after, and I still believe this is directly in response, you have that scene towards the end of the movie where Spider-Man's fighting the Green Goblin on the bridge, and then you've got all those passers-by throwing rocks and bricks at the Green Goblin, saying, yeah, you're gonna mess with New York? No, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that was meant to be, an applause line to get the audience all riled up. But at the same time, we were right in that cusp of uber-patriotism.
Which, to be fair, ever since then, I don't necessarily know that we've ever let go of, and I guess I'll let you guys either think one way or the other of that comment, as you will. I'm just gonna leave it at neutral. But
it's still, we do that. We make these changes to our movies. If something happens, we have to change things. Specifically, referring to the tragedy up in Aurora. That happening at a midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long after, the movie Gangster Squad was going to come out, featuring a scene with people getting gunned down in a theater.
And it's in the trailer and everything.
Yes, and we knew about that months in advance, but of course, once the Aurora events happened, they had to take that, I believe that was still Warner Brothers too, made the decision to not only take that scene out of the movie, but
they had to reshoot the entire sequence.
They had to call people back, get, the cast and crew together, and reshoot a different scene, because for them, that was an integral part of their movie.
And it seems like they managed to redo the exact same situation, but in a different location,
right.
Pretty okay.
And it's not too big of a spoiler. They just moved the location from a theater to Chinatown. But it still involved people getting mowed down by guys with guns.
Well, imagine if a bunch of people got mowed down in Chinatown then. Would they have to change it again? I mean, at that point, isn't it like, well, no matter how many times we change the location, the potential for it happening in said location, there's always a chance. I mean, it's like not like it's likely to happen, but there's always a chance. So what do we then do? We should just then not have any movies about any sort of violence at all.
Well, because it even came up for Star Trek Into Darkness. People were saying, "Oh, well, you can't leave in the stuff about the bombings. We just had the stuff happen in Boston." And it's like, well,
but that's the thing. Bombings do in fact happen.
It's not that we're condoning it. It's just it's a sad reality that we have to live with. That we live in an imperfect world. And people do messed up stuff, and messed up stuff does happen.
And it's really unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like, do we not write about it? Do we not talk about it? Do we shield ourselves from it and pretend it doesn't exist? Now, take, for example, tornadoes. Nobody caused those tornadoes.
Yeah, tornadoes happen.
And you're not going to stop a tornado. Like, I'm pretty sure we're pretty far away from developing technology to completely up and stop a tornado from occurring.
I mean, best we can do is, track them. And even then, that only does so much good.
And we can only predict it, so far in advance to give people fair warning to get out. And it's not to say that I don't think that people having lost their homes, their lives, and their whole lifestyle, of course that's a horrible thing.
Yeah, of course that's nothing to make light of, but at the same time, yeah, the argument is made, how,
should we now ban the movie Twister from ever being aired?
I love Twister!
I know how much you love Twister. I know how much you can quote it top to bottom.
Yeah. But point being, it is kind of what you say, where do you draw the line there? What movie can you put out without being worried about it actually happening or something similar to it happening?
Because then you reach this whole new level of, well, what sort of conflict are we allowed to put in our movies? Is it okay to write about murder? No. Okay. Is it okay to write and display natural disasters? No. Okay. Is it okay to talk about other heinous things that don't cause death but are still bad, like rape? Oh, no, we better not talk about that either. That's sensitive. Oh, how about just heartbreak? And then it starts getting more and more ridiculous. And then we keep editing
the movies down and down.
Until it gets to a point where, don't you think it's kind of going in the direction of, well, then there's no conflict in these movies anymore because something is going to offend somebody.
Well, it's not even a matter of offense. It's just a matter of some messed up stuff happened, and yeah, the timing sucks.
Well, and then, whether it was timing or not, you're still going to offend somebody with some content that you write in. Like, somebody's not gonna like it. I don't think that means that you put a halt on your art. If that was how the vision was supposed to be, then I think it should be left as is. No, I mean, unless it's specifically aiming to harm a particular individual who might view it, or be detrimental to someone's reputation or something. Like, I'm not saying that's cool. I'm just saying, if you have this artistic vision already, and especially if it's already done, like it's over, you don't need to do anything else to it. I don't think that just because a bad thing happened means that you no longer get to say that you created this piece of art.
Right. And I'll look at it this way. As far as Man of Steel is concerned, because like I said, we haven't seen the movie yet. So this is all conjecture, but this is how I see it. As far as the movie is concerned, one, we're already dealing with a piece of fiction. This is a fictional world that we would be watching on screen, with cities like Smallville and Metropolis and what have you. We're dealing with a character who himself is fiction. He's alien-born from another planet, and he's capable of these amazing feats. And in a situation where said character, with the tone of the movie, would be faced with a natural disaster like a tornado, one of two things can happen. Either, one, he can see it, hold back and not do anything, and then not having done anything drive him to be a better hero, or two, we see him do the thing that he's put there to do, which is to save the day. And if you are, or you know, a victim of these tragedies in Texas or Oklahoma, I don't think, A, that you would want to go see that movie. If the tornado's enough to make you not go see that movie, that is your choice, and that is understandable. And two, if you still decide to go see that movie, you're not going to see it.
A and 2, huh?
Yes, A and B. A, if you didn't want to go see that movie, that's your choice, and that makes sense. And B, if you go to see the movie anyway, you're going to see somebody who rises to the occasion and is able to do the thing that gives you hope. A character that can save people, that can get people out of the way. And for some people, they need that sense of escape from the horrific situations that, I lost my house, I lost my job. In some cases, the lives were lost. And that's why we have these art forms. That's why we have the opportunity to go and see the movies where, this horrible thing happened that may somewhat mirror things that happen in real life, but the way the story is told, even if it's not what happened in real life, at least there I can see somebody get their comeuppance.
Mm-hmm.
At least there I can see somebody get saved from the tornado. At least there I can see somebody get taken out for having shot people. At least there I can see, I guess,
because you know what,
balance.
There is injustice in this world, but I think most people really hope for more justice and for more lives saved, what have you.
Of course.
Everybody hopes for better and dreams for better, and to see that illustrated, perhaps, in fiction, that the good things finally happen even in bad situations. I think some people need that little bit of hope, even if it's not real. And then perhaps they can take from that, well, maybe I can now go and make my hope.
Yes, I very much believe in that.
Then absolutely. That's part of the reason why I would not want to see these pieces of fiction get altered because of a poorly timed event. That, one way or the other, it's terrible that it happened, but I don't think we need to alter our art because of it.
Right. And I don't think... I get what you're saying, that it's a slippery slope, but at the same time, just to add a little levity to the situation, I don't think we'll ever get to a point of, we have to delay Pacific Rim. Why? Monsters actually attacked. We can't show this movie. We just can't. We have to be sensitive to the monster attack victims.
That might be going a little far.
Yeah, that might be a little far.
Well, let's just hope that monsters don't actually show up.
Here's hoping. Okay. So, moving on to our final segment, and...
Alright, let's talk about this.
Yeah, the meat. E3, people.
Woo! Man, E3 was exciting.
This is the most exciting E3 that has been in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Like, the last couple of years, I've just kind of been coasting, like... and these are, it was always consoles that already existed, and I was like, well, you're not going to get me to buy your console because of these games. Now you just feel like you can put out
whatever. Or it's a case of like, well, I already have this console, what's the point?
Yeah, so...
But this year,
however...
stuff went down.
Like, can we just say from the top, like, Sony won this E3?
Oh, okay, like, the internet... exploded.
The internet cannot stop putting out silly animated GIFs of...
Don't even start.
GIFs of basically Microsoft getting its ass handed to them by Sony. Which, quite frankly, is the complete and utter truth.
Yes, that is what happened.
We talked about before with Microsoft how with the Xbox One you were not going to be able to share your games as readily and as easily as you might like after having purchased them.
Or you would have to connect to the internet.
Just all these different things.
To play your games.
Well, specifically with the sharing, it was just brilliant that during E3, Sony releases
in their press conference.
Well, not in their press conference. They just released this advertisement of, this is how you share games using the PlayStation 4. Step 1, sharing the game. The president hands over his copy of the game to the other guy. Here you go. Thank you. The end. It was as simple as that.
Boom, 3 million views on YouTube.
And you should have seen, like, during the Sony press conference, too, they start announcing, and you can share with your friends. like he had to stop and let them applaud. And then he just keeps going on with, and you won't have to connect to the internet every 24 hours. And he keeps going down this list of things that basically Sony does what Microsoft don't.
Yeah.
and the audience just can't stop cheering.
Well, not just the audience, just people in general.
Well, no, I'm specifically talking about the press conference happening. Like, I don't think Sony expected to have to stop every half a sentence for the audience to cheer during that segment.
I say people in general, because I have yet to hear one person say they're pre-ordering the X-Bone. I have heard several people say that they are already pre-ordering the PS4, you included.
I am highly considering already pre-ordering the PS4 as soon as the money is actually there for me to put it down.
Everything was a slap in Microsoft's face. Oh, you need to connect to the internet? We don't need to. Oh, you can't share games? We can. $4.99? Oh snap, $3.99. What you gonna do about that, son?
You can actually play multiplayer games without having to connect to the internet. You can actually do it in your own home. Oh, well, these are just things that you shouldn't have to use as advertising points to sell your console. Like, they should just be natively expected out of a console. And yet, here we are, having to explain it, and it's making people very, very happy. Like, yeah, you're not taking away the things that make absolutely perfect sense.
Yeah.
Microsoft, really? Why? I'm trying to remember the name of Microsoft during their press conference, right? They had a game that was to show you just how much they want to integrate with television, okay? I think it's Quantum, what is the name of that show?
Oh, no, dang it, I just had it a second ago in my head.
Quantum something or other? Shoot, I'm sounding like an idiot here. It sounds like
Quantum Leap, but it's not.
Quantum Leap. No,
it's Quantum something.
Just forget it.
Alright, forget it.
So, this show, you know, they expect you to watch the show to understand things within the game, and then playing the game gives you a deeper appreciation of the show.
Quantum Break,
yeah, excuse me, man, I do not television anymore. They just so very badly want to integrate with all these other things that I, as a gamer, do not necessarily connect to very much. I just don't. I don't TV anymore. I know a lot of other people do, and so I'm not necessarily speaking to everyone in the audience. I don't TV. I also don't sports. And then Forza so very badly wants to be a car show, and they go and bring out this brand new sleek car, this muscle car that apparently only...
It's not a
muscle car, but apparently only 2 of them exist in the whole wide world, and then they show you how beautiful these cars look, and they don't actually show the gameplay, and I'm just like, man, I don't really care about racing games that much unless it's Daytona. I don't really care about sports titles and how realistic LeBron James looks, okay? I really don't.
Well, I could care less about LeBron James, but that's for personal reasons.
I don't care how realistic the players look. I don't care.
Now that's not to say that there weren't any good points for Microsoft, because they had like 2. And those would be, one, their demonstration for Battlefield 4.
Well, that one was good play footage.
That was very impressive.
That was good gameplay
I'm not very
footage.
big on FPSs, but that looked very fun to play. And the other thing being that exclusive for them, they're bringing back Killer Instinct.
Yeah, I gotta admit that's one in their favor. I don't think that's gonna sell the whole console for me, but I know a couple of people that might just sell the console for them. I'm not gonna lie. But no, I'm sold on PS4. Because PS4, despite my wariness, I'm pretty sure that Square Enix has me by
the other thing being that PS4
horns.
Also has you for region free.
Of course. I mean, I'm gonna go for the system that's region free because I've been getting tons of use out of my PS3 for its region 3 capabilities. After all, we were just talking about Batride War.
Exactly, which I wouldn't be able to play unless the PS3 was region free.
And so Sony has been intelligent enough to realize, hey, people buy other regions' games. We would be stupid not to let them.
Right. And of course, we've got Sony, we've got Microsoft, but Nintendo was there too.
Oh yeah, they were?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a Nintendo Direct, but they didn't have a press conference there.
Well, yeah, but they still let some information out, which is still prevalent to the gamers of today.
Out of the two major things, most people will be excited about one thing, but I'm actually excited about Mario Kart 8! Woo!
So is that going to convince you to get the Wii U now?
It very well might, yeah, because I'm quite sold by Mario Kart. And here, they're sitting there trying to be like, oh man, it's 60 frames per second. Now, so what? It's a Mario game. It's a Mario Kart. I don't really care. Like, oh, now you can drive upside down. Oh, that's cool too. Look, this is the one situation where, like, I always rag on Mario Party, right? Because it's like, oh, is it the exact same game that it always was? Well, go figure. Just another Mario Party that I'm not gonna buy. But Mario Kart, you make it easier for me to play Mario Kart, the game that I already enjoy, with other people? That's cool! I'll buy it! I love Mario Kart! I can't lie to you! I love Mario Kart.
Now, the other big thing on Mario...
Smash!
Not just Smash!
Smash Bros!
We got Mega Man. We got Mega Man.
You're excited about Mega Man? I'm excited about Wii Fit Trainer.
you go ahead and be excited about Wii Fit Trainer.
You know what? I am psyched for Mega Man. I'm crazy psyched for Mega Man. I mean, it looks perfect, and all the reasons we were given for why Mega Man was not going to be in what other fight? Oh, in MVC3.
Yeah.
All the reasons they tried to BS around, like why Mega Man just wouldn't work in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Boom! They're the exact reasons why he's in Smash. And as psyched as I am to see it, like, it's perfect. That is the perfect Mega Man. Man, Wii Fit Trainer. I know... I know that sounds ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous.
It's because it's ridiculous. Because I'm going to continue on down this idea that I've always stated about Smash Brothers forever, and that nobody but me seems to agree with. And that is that Smash Brothers is not a fighting game. It is a party game. Okay? And I know people don't want to agree with me there, because, I mean, all these tournaments and all these people who are like, I only play with my Wavebird controller, and I only... No, there's a reason why it's goofy. It has like tripping in it.
No, they took out tripping for this next one.
Oh, you're right, they did. Well, items and there's a reason why it's as goofy and as game changing as it is. Much like I don't actually think that Mario Kart is racing, because it has items that will completely change the tone of the race. For example, the blue shell, which will take out the person in first, and if you time it properly, they're going to be right there next to the finish line, and then suddenly they're hit, and every other person passes them up.
Right.
Much in that same vein, too, is Smash Brothers and using items, and then people are like, well, we turn the items off so we can have a legit fighting game, and Smash Brothers...
All items off. Final destination.
Fox only.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason why we have, like, Game & Watch.
Yeah.
And now Wii Fit Trainer. And whatever name of Animal Crossing character is, I can't rightly remember. I don't know what
Person from Animal Crossing.
Person from Animal Crossing. This genderless-looking thing from Animal Crossing.
And then we also got...
No, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Come on, people. Please.
And really the two other major things from Nintendo would be, as far as we're concerned, would be... Yes, because people want it. Because we know a certain somebody who was asking for Bayonetta 2.
Yeah... It's a nice, brawling
It looks like a hot mess to me.
You know what? I'm not a big fan of Bayonetta.
I'm not a big fan of Bayonetta 2, but
I don't necessarily hate Bayonetta, but I don't really want to own it. That's just not the kind of gamer that I am. I'm also not really that much of a Devil May Cry sort of person, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the same guy who developed both games.
Yeah.
It's just not my kind of thing.
Well, what about the new Zelda game for the 3DS?
Yes.
See, I didn't even get to finish that sentence.
Yes. Because it's a direct sequel to A Link to the Past.
Yes.
And there's very few direct sequels in the Legend of Zelda series of games.
Right.
And this one looks traditional enough in gameplay to A Link to the Past, while having new game characteristics and physics as well, such as suddenly going 2D to hug this wall and then
go
around it to get certain objects to solve this puzzle.
That is very unique, and that's a selling point for me.
Oh yeah,
that unique gameplay.
But no, as I was trying to mention earlier within the Sony press conference, so too therefore were Square Enix titles, and despite my...
Yeah, it's time to talk about Square.
And despite my unsurety, I don't even know if that's a word, of...
uncertainty.
My uncertainty of the Final Fantasy series, there's Final Fantasy 15. Now, come on, Final Fantasy 15. You're not Final Fantasy 15. You're Versus 13, which, to be honest with you, I was excited about, because it seemed like it could be a really good game. So therefore, this could still, in fact, be a good game. The problem with it is that it was supposed to be a spin-off, and for a good reason, because gameplay, visuals, it does not look like a main entry in the Final Fantasy series at all whatsoever. And then to, like, blatantly say, yes, this is what Versus 13 was, and then be like, psych, now it's 15.
Like, why would you do that?
I don't...
Why would you willingly let people know that you just switched the name, you just switched the label on something?
I don't know.
To me, that's a dumb move.
People were excited about it. Now, I've also had people be like, well, Final Fantasy IX was originally being developed to only be a spin-off game, too. Yeah, but Final Fantasy IX ended up being the most classic characteristics of any Final Fantasy prior to that point. And it was Hironobu Sakaguchi's favorite installment in the Final Fantasy series, for good reason, because it played exactly the way a Final Fantasy was supposed to play. 15 doesn't look like that. Now, again, I'm actually saying that it looks like it could be a good game. It's just that it's a ridiculously different genre.
Well, I think it remains to be seen. Once that game actually comes out, and once you play through it, you might change your tune.
It's true. It's just I hold on to these ideals of, I know people are like, you're just holding on to the past, man. You can't just accept that this is the direction that... Well, no, if you're gonna brand it something, then it needs to be recognizable as that brand.
You know what was recognizable? We're getting Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, you know what? Bust my legs and call me Shorty. I mean... I didn't actually think that would happen, and then...
I didn't either.
And then, you know what? Okay, I'm legitimately surprised, and maybe even pleasantly so, like... Okay.
You actually applauded Square for the first time in months.
Well, it was the one thing that I was like, so are you guys gonna finish this thing or not? 'Cause, I've been waiting like 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years is a long time.
I'd like to start playing this game before I have to start picking up my social security check. That would be nice.
Now, admittedly, I've been wary on the Kingdom Hearts series, too, because I thought Kingdom Hearts 1 was a phenomenal game.
Of course.
I was so psyched. I was in high school. Oh my god, I was in high school when it came out.
So was I.
Like that's how old this thing was. And I have been in high school, and, especially the year that game came out, in more than 10 years. It's been a long time. And it was a good game, and I remember reading magazine articles on Kingdom Hearts and being like, man, we're gonna mix, Final Fantasy style stuff with Disney? Wow, what a wacky idea!
And yet...
And yet, it was like... The first game, it's like, okay, there's only 2 people in this universe that have Keyblades. You got your main character, Sora. Okay, he's the only... He's the special one. Alright, he's allowed. And King Mickey? Yeah, he's the friggin' king. And he's Mickey Mouse. Okay, give him a Keyblade.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Kingdom Hearts 2. Everybody and their mom starts being given a Keyblade. And then all the spin-off games, who else can we give a Keyblade to? And what other crazy, brooding people can we throw in here? And then just write in, oh, now there's not only Heartless, but there's also, and there's all these other spin-off guys that come from Heartless, and I don't really know where 3 is going, and that trailer didn't really give us any idea either.
I agree with that.
But I'm gonna hope that this ties it up nicely, cleanly, and we can just cut ties there and be like, okay, that was Kingdom Hearts. That was Kingdom Hearts. Let's move on to a new franchise now. So I have hope, and I will pre-order a PlayStation 4 for those titles specifically.
And then I guess there were a ton of other titles too that we'll just briefly talk about just for a second here and there. We saw more footage for Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
It's starting to look more like a movie to me.
Yeah.
Which somewhat makes sense since they're working on the movie.
Which, it's kind of funny, that demo they tried to perform kind of hurked and died in the middle of that press conference. It was a little sad. It's a little funny too.
Ubisoft there, but we saw more footage for Beyond Two Souls, and now I'm confused as to what kind of a game it is.
Yeah, because that first trailer
first couple of trailers.
First few trailers was like, oh, there's this chick and she's weird and she talks to this ghost phantom something that we don't really know what it is. So
is it an alien? Is it a ghost?
What is it? It's a supernatural sort of a thing, and then suddenly military training. Now in this new
You're in the army.
Well, why? Why? Where's your ghost friend? Is it even there anymore? What's this game about?
I don't know. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so Kitty Pryde is being taught by the Green Goblin to use her psychic powers? Cool.
Does she even have psychic powers anymore?
I don't know.
I'm
a little confused.
Anyway.
Let's see. We got the new footage for the next Metal Gear Solid.
That looks pretty freaking sweet.
That looks pretty sweet.
Lie.
Looks very realistic in terms of the lighting.
Such a wide, expansive world to do all this sneaking around in.
I would very much want to play that.
Looked legitimately stressful to avoid being caught.
And that's what you come to expect from Metal Gear Solid, is the emphasis on stealth.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be stealthy in a Metal Gear Solid, and yet from that trailer, I never felt more afraid for the person that I saw controlling Snake. I've never felt more afraid for Snake in my life.
Kojima, you done good.
Yep.
And then, what else we got here? We've got, this weird little shooter thing called The Division, which had people... I guess it was in a somewhat post-apocalyptic New York, but they had a friend there who was able to control a little drone by tablet, and the heads-up display looked very, very well integrated.
That was a very interesting-looking HUD.
I would want to see a bit more from that. We had a brief look at Star Wars Battlefront.
There was no gameplay there, but it was like, that's Empire Strikes Back, man!
That's Hoth, man!
That's specifically the Battle on Hoth. Battle of Hoth, right there.
A snowspeeder just crashed next to me. Almost got stepped on by an AT-AT. I want it.
Yeah, maybe everything I complained about EA getting Star Wars games, maybe it could be okay. But that was nothing but pre-rendered footage. We didn't get to see a character. We didn't get to see any gameplay. We gotta wait and find out.
Exactly. Again, on the brief front, apparently they're making a Mad Max game.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I mean, I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
But maybe it is a good idea.
Maybe.
It could be awesome.
Just pre-rendered footage, not much to that. Got a really big trailer for Disney Infinity.
Which, I don't even know what kind of a game they want me to play
Well, according
anymore.
to that trailer, it is every game.
Yeah, but doesn't that make it so confused? That seems like a very confused game to me.
No, it's not. It's actually, for all the confusion you think you see, it's very focused. Because, again, who is the target audience for that game? Kids.
Kitty!
I can play as Rex from Toy Story, and I can team up with Flip from A Bug's Life.
And kitties!
And maybe kitties!
No, what I'm saying is they're so easily distracted, and thus... Shiny!
Well, yeah, that's how the game looks like it plays. Like, oh my god, and Jack Sparrow and Mr. Incredible, and then we're doing a thing, and
now we're jumping, and now we're flying, and now we're racing, and now we're shooting, and now we're platforming, and now we're RPGing, and now... what? No,
is it too much for you?
It's too much for me.
Do you need to take a nap?
No, I need to go see Man of Steel.
Okay. And then, just real quick, that was more or less everything. We had this, cool little one called Sunset Overdrive, and I think that was for the Xbox. That looked interesting as far as a shooter goes.
Which one was that? Was that the super stylized kind of shooter with monsters?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. I would like to see more gameplay out of that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious at this point.
Because to me, at least the way it was rendered and the setup there kind of sort of, I don't know if you got this, kind of sort of to me reminded me of like Jet Set Radio.
I guess I can see that.
At least as far as the color scheme goes, it's very bright
color scheme
and
perhaps,
vibrant.
But it's not nearly as cel shaded as Jet Set.
But it had a little of that wacky feel to it.
Yeah,
that I like from Jet Set.
There was a lot of free running, so I can kind of understand the feel.
Yeah, like dudes running alongside that billboard there. You can see how that's just like going up on your blades on the side of a wall in Jet Set.
Yeah.
So it seems like a very fun game, in maybe the same vein, but kind of sort of a shooter.
Well, yeah, because there's monsters, and they're shooting them.
Yes, so I'd want to see more from that. And yeah, I guess that, with the little bit of time we have, that's pretty much our rundown of E3.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that we didn't even get to touch.
Yeah, this is just scratching the surface. There's plenty of other places you can go and get more information on the stuff we've mentioned.
Absolutely. Definitely don't rely on us. We're just bantering back and forth about things that we liked and that we're looking forward to or not necessarily so sold on.
Very hyped on Arkham Origins.
Very hyped on just the PlayStation 4 in general, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I'm just happy about it. That having been said, I'm sure that after E3 there will be more information about all of these different titles and consoles coming out, so we'll talk more about those as they come along. But we're going to have to wrap things up for now. I'm going to have links to various different things that we've talked about throughout the segment, such as earlier in the segment we talked about Josh's YouTube channel, so I'm going to link to his, because we're planning on uploading his gameplay footage pretty soon.
And then keep a lookout on Kalen's channel here, because we'll be putting up a promo fairly soon for next week's episode.
Next week's episode, which will be live, so keep following us here for information on that, as well as on our Twitter account so that we can let you know. And I am at MarsGirlProd.
And I'm at Josh Knight First.
And that having been said, thanks again for hanging out with us for another episode of Beyond the Black Rims.
And we'll see you guys again next week live.
Take care, guys.